Hello and welcome to Hidden History. Masaru Emoto was a Japanese businessman and author who conducted a series of experiments on water, primarily focusing on the idea that human consciousness, emotions, and intentions could affect the molecular structure of water. His work has been widely criticised by the scientific community for lacking real scientific proof, or maybe it doesn't fit the model of our science that we have been taught. He believed that water is a blueprint for our reality and can store and transmit information. Water is not just a passive substance, but an active medium that responds to subtle energies and is affected by sound and thought. Emoto claimed that water exposed to positive words like love and gratitude, classical music, or positive thoughts formed beautiful, symmetrical, and aesthetically pleasing hexagonal ice crystals. But water exposed to negative words like hate, heavy metal music, or negative thoughts reportedly formed ugly, distorted, or incomplete crystal patterns. Since the human body is composed of 70% water, our thoughts and emotions directly influence the water within our bodies. Therefore, maintaining a positive mindset and expressing positive emotions is crucial for our personal health and well-being. Collective human consciousness can impact the water on a larger scale, influencing the health of the planet's water resources. This implies that if humanity collectively directs positive intentions towards the environment, it can contribute to its healing and purification. Emoto's experiments and findings are widely considered pseudoscientific by the mainstream scientific community. But when you look at the observer effect experiment dating back to the 1800s, and the early 1900s, which describes how the act of measurement or observation inherently influences the state of a quantum system. Unlike in classical physics, where one can often observe a system without significantly altering it at the quantum scale, the very act of human observation, or it's called a detector amongst the scientific communities, transfers energy at momentum and changes its properties. This is famously demonstrated in the double slit experiment back in 1801, where simply someone observing and attempting to determine which slit a particle passes through collapses its wave-like behavior, forcing it to act like a discrete particle and eliminating the interference pattern, so our observation or thoughts will affect the outcome to any given situation. Despite the scientific criticism, Masaru Emoto's work resonated with many people interested in health, spirituality, and the power of positive thinking. He wrote many books focusing on his crystal experiments and their implications, with the most popular book being The Hidden Messages in Water. Emoto's work is groundbreaking and provides evidence that words and thoughts are collectively affecting our reality, even if these ideas don't fit into modern day science. So what other experiments have been done within science exploring how our thoughts affect each other and this reality? Parapsychology is the word used in scientific communities for telepathy, and the experiment conducted was called the Ganzfeld experiment, which was first performed in 1974, with Ganzfeld being German for entire field. The Ganzfeld experiment is where one participant, known as the receiver, is placed in a comfortable chair in an acoustically isolated room to induce a state of mild sensory deprivation. Halved ping pong balls are placed over their eyes, and soft uniform light, which is often red, is shone onto the person. They wear headphones playing static white or pink noise which block out external sounds. And this creates a Ganzfeld effect, where the brain is starved of varied sensory input and one can generate their own internal imagery. In a separate acoustically isolated room, a sender concentrates on a randomly selected target, image or video clip from a larger pool. The sender's goal is to mentally transmit this information to the receiver. Then the receiver will record any images and thoughts they receive during the session. Again, this experiment has been heavily criticized due to its lack of evidence, yet this has been successful many times. Mainstream science largely dismisses these results due to the concerns about the process, the lack of consistent independent replication, and potential biases, concluding that there is no validated evidence for parapsychological phenomena from these experiments. So modern day science is keeping us limited. Although quantum physics is now opening up us to new possibility, the real issues lie within accepting those new possibilities, and what we have learned could be stopping us and not learning this new information. When we look at Masaru Emoto, who studied water for 25 years, he clearly shows that we are being constantly influenced by sound and thoughts, as our bodies are made up of 70% water, even if his experiments don't fit with our current science. Because our modern day science allows us to be programmed, controlled and limited by the world around us. All our words, thoughts have an effect on this world, inside and outside of us. So we have to be self-aware to what feelings, thoughts, words we are speaking, because we are constantly influencing this reality around us. Emoto typically used distilled water in his experiments to ensure they were neutral. He would then expose the water to various words by sticking words to the water containers, but also speaking the words out loud. But he would also play different types of music and show images to the water, which all had an effect on how these somatic shapes were formed. When you look at the design of rose windows within churches, chapels and cathedrals around the world, these can often resemble the somatic shapes that were created by Emoto's experiments. And this makes sense, as these locations would have once been used for healing purposes. So the light would shine through the rose windows, creating somatic patterns, and through the stained coloured glass and onto the congregations or individuals for healing purposes. This, combined with the choral singing and instrument playing within these sacred buildings, would create huge somatic frequencies that contained a powerful healing resonance. But also, all these locations once had sacred springs that were accessible, and they would have connected to the ley lines of the planet. So Masaru Emoto's work is most certainly a blueprint for our reality, and shows us that water has the ability to store and respond to various forms of information, such as thoughts, emotions, words and music. Emoto interpreted these observations as evidence of water's consciousness and its profound connection to human consciousness, suggesting that by cultivating positive thoughts and emotions, individuals could not only influence water but also promote healing in themselves and planet Earth. Thank you for watching, everyone. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and you can also join the members section, which has lots of exclusive content. See you in the next video.